After nearly 3 years to the day, I'm finally heading back aboard Disney Cruise Line for my first sailing aboard the beautiful Disney Dream and for a 3-night cruise to Zeebrugge in Belgium. And I know for many that a Disney cruise will be their first, so I'm going to include as much information to help those of you out in this and in subsequent videos in the series. The previous night I had stayed at the stunning Harbour Hotel. If you live a fair distance away from the port or just like a relaxing start to your cruise, then booking a hotel the night before could be a good idea. For me, it's not having to stress about traffic, so the holiday starts the night before. I then drove to the Horizon Cruise Terminal to drop off my luggage before parking at West Quay, which is only £7 per night, which is less than half than what the port will charge you, and of course the car park here is completely safe and secure. After a short walk back, it was soon time to board the ship. Disney allows 2 bottles of wine or 6 cans of beer for each adult over the age of 21, not 18. Which is really something just to be aware of. After passing through the airport staff security, I then headed up to wait for my boarding group, which was announced just as soon as I'd arrived. Please be aware of your arrival time. There's no point getting here early as the ship boards in groups, so you won't get on any faster. And you can have your photographs taken here before you get on board. It took 16 minutes from getting in the line outside, passing through security, checking in and getting onto the ship. And the whole welcome on board is something unique to Disney. A Disney crew member will announce your group as you're welcome on board the ship. This is definitely something the kids enjoy. As the cabin wasn't going to be available until 1:30, I went to Animator's Palette for lunch. The bread service was brought out while I perused the menu, which had plenty of options to choose from, which gave me time to think about the throngs of people battling out in the buffet while I'm sitting here having a relaxing meal. This is definitely the place to come on Embarkation. I had the sliced smoked salmon for my appetizer, which was delicious, especially with some of the honey mustard dill sauce. Followed by the hearty leek and potato soup. I highly recommend the soups on Disney Cruise Line, they're just perfect. For my main, I went for the beef sirloin with twice baked potato. The beef was so tender, my knife just glided through it, and the potato had a crunchy outside and fluffy in the middle. My other half had the crispy beef empanadas and this huge muffaletta sandwich. It was very tasty but far too much food. And we shared a bottle of Santa Margarita sparkling rosé from one of my favourite vineyards, which was so light and refreshing. For dessert I went for the carrot cake. I'm not really much of a cake person, but this was amazing. Did you know you can have a premium Mickey ice cream bar at every restaurant, even though it's not on the menu? By now the cabin was ready, and we had an incredible Deluxe family ocean view stateroom with veranda. It was cabin 6316. At 299 square foot, it's one of the largest I've stayed in. That's actually the same size as a mini suite on princess ships, and it comfortably sleeps 5 people. I'll have a full cabin tour and review coming up soon, so please subscribe to make sure you don't miss that. Beer glasses aren't included in the price of your cabin, but you can use them to get free beer. More of that to come. And yes, the loo and bathrooms are split on Disney ships, which is something different to most other cruise lines. But it does mean that multiple people can get ready at the same time. And to be honest, I was a bit nonplussed about this when I first saw it on the Disney Magic a few years ago, but I'm a bit of a convert to it now. And the shower tub combination is perfect, with a powerful rainfall shower head and a handheld shower, and the tub is ideal for bathing smaller children. On Embarkation Day, it's a good idea to explore some of the places that aren't usually accessible later in the cruise. There's an open house at Senses Spa and Salon, so I went there and checked it out. It has a fitness centre with plenty of equipment to use and offers classes should you wish. The spa offers a wide range of treatments and hydrotherapy facilities, along with hot beds and hot tubs, which do incur an additional charge. Somewhere that's included in your cruise fare is the Kids Club, so I went there for their open house. Usually adults aren't allowed in here, so it's nice to see what facilities are on board for younger passengers. The first of these is the Oceaneer Club for 3 to 10-year-olds. The highlight of this has to be this interactive Millennium Falcon. The theming here is absolutely spectacular, it's just like being in a set from the movies. You can even get to meet R2-D2 here. They can even get to fly the Millennium Falcon. This is just far too good for children. And there's Andy from Toy Story's room with his friends Slinky, Mr. Potato Head and Rex. Once again, the theming here is perfect. The second entrance takes you to the Oceaneers Lab, which also has another handwash station as you go in. Again, this is for 3 to 10-year-olds, but this time it has much more of a focus on kids' creativity. There's lots of art and crafting supplies to let their imaginations run wild. And of course there are big screens for the kids to play their favourite video games. And this large room is dedicated to crafting lessons. And there was also some screens that seemed to be showing Disney Cruise Line games. Kids must just have the absolute time of their lives when they're in here. Disney still have the in-person muster drill, which is now very outdated. It took about half an hour. Many kids were getting bored and were screaming, so if you've got youngsters, take something along to keep them occupied. It was quite frustrating when other cruise lines have this information available on the TV, which bizarrely Disney do too. And after that, it was finally time to sail away from Southampton. And of course there was a sail away party with the entertainment team. And from here you can see Aqueduct, which is a water roller coaster / raft ride. And it travels the whole way around the pool deck up on deck 12. I then headed up to the very top of the ship for sail away. Bye Southampton, I'll see you in a few days. And as I headed out, I saw P&O Britannia docked at the ocean terminal. I've not sailed on her yet, but it's definitely a ship I'd like to get on board. And one of the most iconic buildings to see as you sail away from Southampton is Netley Castle. And afterwards there was time just to relax before the highlights of the evening to come. This area at the front of the ship is adult only, so it's away from the hustle and bustle of the main pool deck. I headed to the Walt Disney Theatre to watch the first of the ship's 3 production shows. This one was called Believe. Disney have 2 evening performances, which are opposite your allocated dining time. I had late dining, so I went to the early show. And photography and video recording of the shows isn't allowed and is strictly enforced. Believe tells the story of a father who doesn't believe in magic as his daughter does. And it features a drone Tinkerbell, the genie from Aladdin, and guest stars such as Peter Pan, Baloo, Tiana, and Mary Poppins amongst others. Oh, and a special appearance from these guys too. It also had more pyro than I've ever seen on a cruise ship show before. The whole production is very high quality indeed, just as you would see at the West End or on Broadway. and I would suggest getting here 20 to 30 minutes earlier than they start, as the theatre was absolutely packed. The saying, standing room only, is real. People literally turned up with 10 minutes to go and had to stand through the whole performance. The main atrium was really busy with long lines to meet Mickey and Minnie. And while the waits can be long, the sheer joy on the children's faces as they meet their favourite characters makes it all worth it. But I wasn't waiting around, however. I was heading outside to see this incredible sunset. They really are something else at sea. Then it was back to Animator's Palette, this time for dinner. Disney have a unique rotational dining system, where you eat at a different restaurant each evening and the serving team follow you around so you get to know each other. There are large screens placed strategically on the walls around the restaurant. So this was the first time we got to meet our servers, who brought out the bread service and the menus. Disney offer a 4-course menu and also have vegetarian and lighter note offerings. The screens are used by Crush from Finding Nemo, who joins us for a very interactive chat with fellow guests, which is very similar to the attraction Turtle Talk with Crush, which Disney have at their parks. I had the black truffle pasta per sets. The pasta was perfectly cooked and the champagne sauce was to die for. Followed by the delicious baked potato cheddar cheese soup. Have I mentioned how good the soup is on Disney? On my other half had the sliced serrano ham.
Oh, the UK, England, that's sick! Dude, I have been asking a ton of questions today. Do you humans have any questions for me?
Disney are more than happy to provide as much food as you desire, which allows you to try other options or to share with others. So for research purposes, I chose the pork chop and the panetti bolognese as a side. The chop had a crunchy topping and the meat was succulent and moist. And the pasta again was perfectly cooked and the bolognese sauce was rich and tasty. While my other half had the Angus beef sirloin that was perfectly cooked. And then out came the dessert menus. However, after all that food, all I wanted was a couple of scoops of vanilla ice cream. Although the chocolate fudge cheesecake did look a bit special. Overall, it was a fantastic meal at Animator's Palette. The service and food were excellent. And to round the evening off, I headed to the adult-only district area and into the 687 pub for a quiet beer, and then went to the district lounge for some late night music. And while Cabanas, the massive buffet on board the ship, is closed, here there's a spread with some light bites. Just don't let the kids know. And when I finally got back to my cabin, I found this swan which was created out of the bed runner and a couple of chocolates too. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing with a notification bell on. I'm going to have lots more Disney Cruise Line content to come.